7 Cricut TikTok hacks. Today I'm going to show you guys 7 really easy TikTok hacks for your Cricut. These are going to be perfect if you guys are just now getting into purchasing a Cricut or maybe a silhouette machine, die cutting if you will, you're getting into adhesive vinyl or HTV. These little tips and tricks are going to be perfect for you. Like I said, it's the holiday season. A lot of people are starting to get into crafting, and these may help you along the way while you guys are creating your craft. So let's go ahead and dive right in. TikTok hack number 1 is using a lint roller. I've actually showed you guys this hack before, but I want to show you again, and we're actually going to do a spin on it. So I've seen something really cool with this, and so I'm actually going to put it to the test today to see if it actually works, and if not, we're obviously just going to do it as normal. The design that I'm using is right here. It is so cute. It's this little snowman that I think is just absolutely perfect. So I'm going to show you guys. If you guys notice, I have not weeded out his belly yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do like a reverse weed on the lint roller. There's actually a lint roller that has clear sheets, and what's really cool about this is you can use it for transfer tape. You can even use the ones that are the off-white or the white, the regular lint roll if you will. If they come in sheets like this, you could definitely use those as well. But these come in handy because you can see through them, so they're pretty transparent if you will. So the first hack with this is they actually have these little perforated lines, if I could tear it correctly. There we go. So you guys can actually use this as transfer tape. Now these do come in a little bit more sticky, so what you can actually do is stick them down on something that's got a little bit of lint to them and maybe peel them a few times. So number 1, I even just like to stick them on my sweatshirt or t-shirt, and that's going to help make them not so sticky, but you could definitely still keep them sticky. So those would be perfect for your glitter HTV and all of that stuff. What you'd be able to do with them like this is actually get them down just like so and use them just like you normally would with transfer. So you're just going to go ahead and pick those up just like so, right? And so we're going to go ahead and flip this guy over and peel. Now for our reverse weed, we're actually gonna go ahead and go in here. Hopefully you guys can see this. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is so that way I don't lose those little bitty pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and carefully get this started. So since I have those little bitty dots, it's really just gonna help me keep them. So I'm actually collapsing down on myself. I'm trying to be careful there. If they're trying to come up with me, I'm just gonna push them back down. Normally, obviously, you would not be trying to hold this in the air like I am. I wanna make sure you guys can see it really well. So you'd have it on your table, but you can see it's helping me not to not lose those little bitty dots. So I lost one back there, but you guys get the point. So as you can see, you guys can use the lint roller as transfer tape. How cool is that? So if you guys did not know that, that is something cool in itself. Now the newest TikTok hack that I actually seen using this guy was picking it up here, keeping it on the lint roller, and then applying it on the glass. So let's test it out and see if it actually works. All right, so we're gonna take that lint roller here, and I'm going to attempt, while it's on the roller, we're going to start from one side to the next. All right, so there we go. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and rub the back side of this to get it over on my lint roller. So this is definitely interesting and different. So we're just going to rub, get that on there. Perfect. And now I'm gonna go ahead and carefully peel. Let's see if it's gonna stay here. So just kind of get us at an angle here and peel. Perfect. All right, so far that has worked. We're gonna do that same reverse weed so that way we can keep our little bitty dots here. So I'm gonna get that started. So I'm just using my tweezers here to help me kind of pop these down as I go along. So it is a little bit harder since it's on the roller. There we have it so far. So look at that. It's on the lint roller, right? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, I found these glasses at Walmart. They were, I think, a little bit less than $1. So these are like the Libby glasses, but they're plastic. And you may or may not be able to find them in your local Walmart. But the other thing I was thinking about doing was a coffee cup, but I just wanted to try it on here because I thought it would be super cute. So here we go. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to take my squeegee as I normally would. That way it can kind of help me hold this on here. So I'm gonna have to kind of roll from one side to the next. The interesting thing is we don't have the pressure to push like you normally would with a squeegee, so it's gonna be interesting if it's gonna work. So here we go. So we're gonna go ahead, hopefully you guys can get this at the same time. I'm gonna go down, And then I'm just going to, hopefully you guys can see through there. Here we go. All right, we're gonna slowly, oh my gosh, it is working. Oh my gosh, okay, so I lost a little tiny circle, but maybe we can go back for it. I definitely don't wanna go in reverse. I can carefully see that I'm trying to pick something up there. So I wonder if I go back here and help it along. Maybe if I do reverse, I don't know. It's scary to reverse. You guys can see it's happening, but this one guy is wanting to be a little tricky, so let's try to help him out. All right, here we go, continuing on. And we've lost one dot. And I'm giving it force as I'm going around, guys. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe this. Holy guacamole. Look at that, it actually worked. Oh my gosh. Look at how stinking cute that is. That is so cute on this little lippy glass as well. But like I said, definitely do it on a coffee cup. So as I was going around, I was giving it some force. You could see this guy right here wanted to lift up, which I'm gonna go back and adjust. So I carefully helped him out. And I lost one little dot. So let's go back and try to get that dot. I'm gonna pick it off here. I would not wanna try to place this back down because you can risk picking everything back up. So let's go back and place it down. There we go. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe it. That has got to be my favorite TikTok hack of all time. So I thought at first when we discovered last year using the clear lint roller for even transfer tape and having that, because it's so cool because it's right here ready to go. You have small sheets at your hand. You could even trim them down further than that. But to leave it on there and roll it on at the same time, I am shook. All right, first one down and wow. Let's move on to number 2. TikTok hack number 2, reverse weed. So I showed you a little glimpse into that reverse weed, but I'm gonna show reverse weeding the entire design. So we're using this design right here, which is a snowflake, and it's very intricate. It's got all of these little bitty pieces in it. So we're gonna do a reverse weed to show you how you could accomplish this so much easier. All right, so we've got the design already cut out. It's ready to go. It's on this really pretty, like sparkly Starcraft. This is like a normal permanent adhesive, but it has some sparkle in it. It's really, really pretty. All right, so step 1, we're gonna take some transfer tape here. The question I get all the time is, what is my favorite transfer tape? What is this tape that I'm using? So this right here is from 143. I have it linked down below. They have 2 different ones. I believe this is called their Magic Mask. I like it because it has no backing. It's on the roll, and you see like right here, if I have an extra piece, I'll just pop it on too. So I really love it. It works amazing. Another great one is just getting some contact paper from the Dollar Tree. All right, so step 1, we're gonna take that transfer and we're going to cover our entire design. You wanna make sure that everything is covered, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and smooth everything out, and then we'll trim off that excess. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and take that squeegee, and I'm gonna continue to rub this on to the transfer. All right, flip it over and get it one more time. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and just remove this guy from the backing here. And so you're gonna notice everything is on it stayed on here, right? Everything's on the transfer. So now what the very first thing I wanna do is weed out the big piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a corner up here, and that's just where we're going to start. All right, so now that I've got a corner started here, I'm just gonna go ahead and start to slowly peel. I always try to be careful not to let this fall back on itself so it doesn't stick, because then it's gonna become a mess. All right, so far you can see all of those points and pieces there. So now let's go on the inside here. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get a piece started right here on the inside. So now that I've got that piece going, nice and easy, I'm gonna work my way the same way I did on the outside all the way around. All right, there we go. How cool is that? So you guys can really start to see that thing come together. And then I'm just gonna continue to go in here until I get all of the pieces. Another tip to go along with this, with your lint roller, is if you actually set it to the side while you're working, you can stick those pieces on there as you're weeding it off, just to kind of help you go a little bit quicker and you have something there to grab it for you. So as you guys can see, that's starting to come together. You're just going to continue to weed all of these pieces out. Now this design may not 100% be the design that's best for this. You may want something like I showed you before with just those little dots and stuff that may work better than others. Something like this will take a little bit more time, but you could definitely see how I was able to keep all of these pieces here without destroying or losing anything during that weed. So I really love this hack as well. So let's go ahead and move on to hack number 3. TikTok hack number 3. I'm going to show you guys the easiest way to apply your transfer tape and then remove it from the backing. For this hack, we're using this design right here, which is going to be perfect for making those ornaments this holiday season. So let me show you how. So once again, using that transfer, we're going to go ahead and get us a piece. And then I'll go ahead and trim off my excess. If you guys are new to Cricut with transfer tape, you can reuse this stuff over and over and over again. Just because you use it on one project does not mean it's done. Definitely, once again, just reapply it once you're done with it onto your roll. So I know this was extra, but say for example, I used it and then save it for later. You can use it over and over and over again. So for example, if I was making a ton of ornaments with this, I could use the same piece of transfer over and again. So I've applied it. Step 1, I have not rubbed it in just yet. You're going to take your squeegee and you're just simply going to make sure that you cover everything. Honestly, it should not take you rubbing like crazy. You definitely should not be having to do that. It should just be as simple as getting it on there. Sometimes it's best to flip it over, maybe get 1 or 2 swipes this way to help get it straight to the transfer tape. And then the way that you're supposed to do this, a lot of people you will see just go ahead and peel it from this way and you'll notice that struggle. But what you're actually supposed to do is flip it over in this direction and peel your backing from your vinyl. So instead of peeling your vinyl from your backing, you're peeling that backing from your vinyl and you are ready to go. And just for another little tip here is when you go to apply this onto your product, whether you're making like an ornament or something, you want to create a taco. So I always call this a taco method. Get it nice and centered. You can always fold this over, get a nice little crease there so you know your center, get it centered, and then roll your way out, rubbing from, you know, like left to right, right to left, whatever you want to do from that center out. But applying it down like a taco is really super duper helpful whenever you guys are working with your projects. TikTok hack number 4. So I'm going to show you guys how to easily weed your HTV if you're struggling to weed it. So something to think about in the winter months when your HTV gets cold, it is a little bit harder to weed. So if your craft room or your workspace is a little bit cooler, you may notice that you struggle more with your vinyl during you know, the cooler months or maybe at the office compared to the house. And there's a simple hack to weed this a whole lot easier. So let me show you how. So say for example that we started to weed this guy out. All right, so you're going to flip it over and I'm going to start to weed it. So you're going to notice that it's just kind of, you know, nice. It's kind of tight. So whenever I'm going to peel it, you can kind of see that there. See how it's just kind of, you can see that struggle there, right? All you simply have to do is take your Cricut press here on your Cricut pad. Now, if you're using a bigger heat press like this, what I like to do there is just, if it's one like this, like a swing away, just have it on. Where you have it on, you're fixing to make your t-shirts, swing it out, and then lay your HTV face up, obviously, and start to weed on there. I love weeding on this guy, and that honestly is how I do it like 90% of the time. So when I'm using my bigger heat press, 90% of the time, I'm weeding on that heat press off camera. So obviously I can't do all that stuff all the time on camera, but off camera, I do that 99% of the time, have been for years. But with a Cricut Easy Press, what do? You're simply just gonna do the same method by, like I said, heating up your pad just for a few seconds. Don't overheat. You don't want this too hot. You're going to make sure that the glossy side down, make sure your adhesive side is up or you're going to melt it to your mat. Give it just a second to start to get warm and cozy. Get back in there and we're going to start to weed this out and you're going to notice a whole big difference here, right? So now notice that there is going to be, hopefully I'm going to notice this, there is definitely no, you guys can definitely see like obviously where it's always going to have like that little bit of a stretch to it, but you see that it just kind of really pulls off. There's no, I'm not pulling on it because sometimes when you go to weed those, you feel like this starts to buckle up and it gets a little bit crazy and messy and you're really yanking on it. And you don't have to do that. But in the winter months, versus the summer, you will notice a difference and you're gonna think something is wrong with your HTV, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It is just the fact that you need to heat up that lower platen or your pad. Another thing is, say for example, you're using an off-brand off of Amazon and that's what you absolutely love, but the one thing about it is it's not like Caesar Easy Weed, if you will, or maybe your Cricut brand or something like that. Simply heating up that pad is going to weed it, like I said, a whole lot easier. All right, so let's go ahead and warm this back up. And I like to do that in between pieces. So even on the same one, as it starts to warm, you know, lose its heat, if you will, I'll heat it back up again, and then I'll just keep going back inside. But see how easy that is? And then I'm just gonna continue to get all of these pieces out. But you can really start to see how those are just like, it just melts. It's so crazy, the difference. But I know years ago when I started using HTV, there was times that I noticed, but I never put 2 and 2 with the winter months, that my HTV was so hard to weed. But I didn't realize, obviously, when it gets cold, there is a struggle. So there you guys have it. So cute, so easy. And like I said, this is the design that I'm using today. Right here, you guys can snag it. All of these are gonna be linked down below for you. So there you have it, TikTok hack number 4. TikTok hack number 5, it's staying with the HTV. Now we've put it on the t-shirt, but we decide either A, we messed up where we placed it, B, we don't like it, we need to remove it. What can we do to save our t-shirt? There's a few different things. Number one, there is a product called VLR, and it is made for removing vinyl. But if you guys don't want to go out and purchase that because it is a little bit more expensive, I'll have it linked down below for y'all just so you can see it. But you guys could definitely still use your presses, whether it is this one, whether it's a bigger press, you can definitely still do it, as well as a mini press to remove it. So let me show you how. This is the design I'm using right here. So it's a super cute deer, and say for example, I put this on brown, right? So I put it on as a little brown deer, but I really want to do it in gold. I've put it on here and I'm just not a fan, or I've just placed it too high or too low. So how can I possibly save this t-shirt? Because they're not cheap. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Cricut Easy Press and you're going to place it upside down just like so. If you have a mini one, you're obviously just going to have that and have it in your hand. Please, if you're gonna try this, do not touch that lower platen with your hands. Be super duper careful. You may wanna use some heat gloves with this, but definitely take some caution. You can definitely do this with a home iron as well. So the settings that I have this on is the same settings that I use to apply it, but you could definitely do a lower temp if you want to. And then what we're actually going to be doing is make sure you don't try to stick this face on there. We're going to place this right on top of here. So making sure I'm getting the t-shirt on there, right? Keeping my hands off that platen. There we go. I'm gonna make sure this guy is completely on here and nothing is underneath. So we've got my deer upside down, but you guys get the point, right? So we're gonna let it set for just a second to start to heat up. So now that this is getting nice and warm and toasty, we're gonna take our tweezers. My favorite tweezers to use for this is the wider ones from Cricut that they had created for removing the lint and stuff off of your Cricut mats for the fabric and stuff like that. They are amazing. They're perfect for this project. But I'm just using some crafting tweezers here. And so now that I think this is nice and warm and toasty, I'm gonna go ahead and start to pick at it. And once I can get that going, I'm going to pull it up. So we're gonna go ahead and just get a spot and start working. You guys can see that coming up just like this. I'm just gonna slowly work my way all the way down. Now, while I do this, I'm gonna tell you my love-hate relationship with this, all right? Yes, it's going to remove it, but the problem with this one versus VLR is it will leave a residue, all right? Number one, you're kind of taking, yes, I know you're using chemicals with the other one. You are taking some caution, you know, putting it upside down and kind of having it, your hand so close to the heat, but also you guys may notice it is leaving residue behind. So that is something that does happen with this hack. But as you can see, it definitely works. So you're just going to keep on trucking here. So you guys can see I'm using my weeding tool here to help me kind of hold my t-shirt down so I'm not distorting and pulling, and I'm able to keep that t-shirt flat on the iron. Now, another thing, it could be as simple as maybe you're not removing the entire design. With this one, when I applied it, I accidentally didn't weed a little piece of the inside of the ear out. It could be that you need to take a little mini iron and remove that little piece that you forgot to weed. So it's another thing that you can definitely use for that. But the one thing I want to point out is, you can see I've talked about, the only thing about this method I feel like nobody ever talks about is it does leave that adhesive behind. So you would still need that VLR to pull that adhesive off. But what you can still do, if my design that's gonna go back down on this t-shirt completely covers everything, then nobody knows it's there. It's one of those things like they're never gonna know. So you definitely can save the t-shirt to use it for another project. Maybe you're putting a bigger design or whatever. So that is something to keep in mind too. So don't just feel like, well, the adhesive's gonna be on there, so that's not worth it. There's different reasons for everything. And so I definitely feel like there's a time and place for every hack. So you guys can see, once I can really get a good piece going, I'm able to get pretty much all of it. I'm hoping I can get it all at one time. Yes, there we go, perfect. So let's go ahead and look at this. So hopefully you guys can see that adhesive on the t-shirt. All right, so let me go ahead and start by removing this guy off here. And then to flip it back, I'm going to get my hands underneath here very carefully, not touching that top at all. Get a hold of that handle, flip it back, and let's go ahead and turn that guy off. So let's go ahead and look at it and recap. I'm gonna try to bring it up close enough so hopefully you guys can see that there, but you guys can see that texture from the adhesive that is left behind. So really the only way to really remove that is gonna be using something like VLR to get that off. But once again, if your design is big enough to cover everything, you're gonna be good to go. Now, once again, if it was, for example, I accidentally did not weed out a tiny piece, I need to go back, weed that little piece out, or I've messed a piece up where I can remove it and put a new piece on it. There is a time and place for this hack. I promise you, it may come in handy for you. So I definitely wanted to make sure you guys seen that today. TikTok hack number 6, also maybe a design bundles hack, is free designs. This has got to be one of my favorite hacks of all time, and it's where do you get free SVGs, PNGs, all of the things. And you can definitely grab those over on designbundles.net, and you wouldn't even believe we have so many free designs and we add to them all of the time. We have so much free stuff to offer you guys. So don't always feel like getting into the crafting that you can't afford to really get started, because you could start out with all of the freebies. Not to mention, when you start out with these free designs from designbundles.net, you get to play around with a little bit of our stuff. And so we really love sharing with you guys some of our stuff for free. And we have some really, really good stuff in here. So the way to access these, if you actually come to designbundles.net, you're going to see right here where it says free designs. If you hover over this, you see where it says free SVGs, sublimation designs, laser, you name it. So you can individually click on these. So say for example, I'm into sublimation. I just want to see what free sublimation designs you have to offer. I can click on that. And as you guys can see here, it is loaded. Whether you guys are making t-shirts, coffee mugs, all of the things. Another thing that I want to show you too with this, if you actually come to where it says fonts, come over to the left, it says free fonts. You can actually click on those here as well. So that's another little tip. Going back over here to our free SVG files, let's go ahead and go in there really quick and kind of scroll through. So we got tons of stuff for Christmas right now. Check these out. So, so cute. If you guys want to stay in the loop and know every time that we upload new designs to this free area, all you simply got to do is put in your phone number here and you will get a text message every time we upload something new. So definitely make sure you check it out. All of the designs that I've showed you today, including our last one I'm fixing to show you, is completely free, and they're all linked down below. TikTok hack number 7. So this is our very final hack here today, is using parchment paper. There's so many different things that you can use with this parchment paper. I mean, from sublimating designs and everything. But I'm going to show you today using it to line up your piece of vinyl to get the perfect placement. So we are going to be using this design right here to make this really cute sign. You could definitely take some adhesive vinyl or stickers to create those numbers. Another thing I thought would be really cute is to cut out felt with some numbers and then use some little magnets and things like that, because you could get the magnets, put one on the back and then one on the front, and that way you can stick those felt pieces on there and change them throughout. There's so many different ideas to do with this guy here. Or if you wanted to do this on a dry erase board, so say for example, if you get the Dollar Tree dry erase boards, you could definitely just write those numbers in with a dry erase marker as well. All right, so I've already cut everything out and I've already weeded it. It's ready to go. So there's a few things that you could do. You could definitely line these up using the parchment paper and then apply them down as one piece, or you can do it on the sign. I'm going to do it on the sign just to show you how to do it. All right, so let's go ahead and start to pick these pieces up. So the very first one I'm going to go ahead and add on here is going to be these lines right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get our transfer tape. All right, so first things first, where I've talked about that taco method is going down straight like this, right? And then we're going to take that squeegee and we're going to pick these pieces up. So we're using all those hacks that we've learned here today. And then we're just going to go ahead and peel. I may want to go ahead and trim down my parchment. Now these parchment papers that I like to get, you can get them in the roll from Dollar Tree, from Walmart, locally, everywhere. But where I like to get mine is from Amazon. I get these pre-cut sheets here. They're perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim this guy down. And so what I'm trying to do is cut it to where it's a little bit smaller than my sign. There we go. So you're going to go ahead and place your parchment paper right on inside. And then we're going to go ahead, and while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get this guy down right here, just kind of figuring out, and which honestly I may need to move this guy over. What I'm doing here, because I want to keep this long, is I want to make sure I've got a little piece over just like that. So I've got a little piece stuck over the side of that, right? Because this is going to go in the middle. So then I can eyeball this and figure out about where I want it to be. So that way I'm not overcommitting, and once it's down, right? So I'm just kind of eyeballing this, figuring it out and saying, okay, I think I'm happy with that. Once you are, you're gonna go ahead and get your side that is exposed to the wood. Because like I said, you wanna leave a little bit of that parchment over to the left or the right. And then now we're just gonna go ahead and rub these pieces down. So we've got our first piece ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and rub those in, and then we're gonna peel. So now what I want to do is actually use these again. So I'm actually going to pick both of these up at the same time, and then I'll trim it down. Just like I've showed you before, flip it over, peel from the back, and then I'm going to cut these in half. All right, so let's go in with our top piece here. So I'm just going to get my parchment paper where it's down like this. We are going to get this to where a little bit of that tape is going to come off the top. So if I hold this up here, hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better. I'm just kind of line that up until I'm happy with it. Then I'll be able to get a little piece of that so you can see that this corner got down there. And then I will remove that parchment. And then rub, rub, rub. Perfect. And then we're going to go in with that last one. All right, so for this one, I've got my parchment paper moved down in this direction. And then I'm going to do that same thing, getting a little piece of that up here at the top so I have something to work with. And then I'm just going to get this where it's supposed to go. So something about like that. I think that is exactly where it needs to go. I was paying attention to this M here and that H. I'm going to get down that little bit of transfer tape and move my parchment and then rub it down. And then carefully peel. And there you have it. So just like that, I was able to use that parchment paper to get the perfect placement. So there's so many different things that you can do with this. Even just if it's one single design, having this underneath, you just need a little lip of your transfer tape on top. So that way you have something to stick to. So whenever you're ready to pull it out, you can pull that out. But you could do that on the side of your tumblers if you were personalizing with those with names. I mean, there's just so many different things you can do. I also like to take it and then layer it on the parchment paper and then place it all as one design. So that's something you can do as well using that same parchment. So like I said, absolutely perfect. And there you guys have it, 7 Cricut TikTok hacks that I hope you guys will find useful. If you guys have learned something new with any of these hacks today, let me know in the comments below which one, or if you guys have absolutely tried these and you love them and you found them tried and true for you and you use them along the way, please sound down below. And also share your hacks. If you have a hack that you want all the other crafters to know, what's something that you do in your everyday life that makes your crafting journey so much more easier, let us know in the comments below, because it really helps everybody out, especially when you're new. You know, when you're new, those struggles, like I said, making a t-shirt, messing up, and then what do? Can you remove it? Yes, you can. There is options for you. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this, like I said, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.